Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know, my name is Yanika. Today we have Mr. Melo Jones with us, or DJ Melo Jones, DJ Melo, whatever you want to call him. And if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that he's been on my channel. Well, not on my channel. I've been on his platform a couple times on his radio show, the Groove Life show on the Great FM. I'm gonna have him introduce himself, what he does, and where they can find you, where you're from. Just a quick background before we get into the nitty gritty.
Okay, perfect. Good evening, everybody. I am DJ Melo Jones. I'm a DJ here at WKMTDB, the Great FM, Miami's #1 Billboard charted radio station, connecting the world through music. You can follow me on Instagram at DJ Melo Jones. Yeah. You can visit my website, www.djmelojones.com. If you want, book an interview, if you want radio promotion, if you want to book me for whatever it is, birthday party, whatever it is you got going on, you can hit me up there at my website. What else? What else? What else? A little bit about me. As you know, I do a radio show. I talk about, psychological, and philosophical things. As you may have seen me before. We had a series of relationship discussions, my Yanika and myself. So we talk about relationships, marriage, love, lack thereof, all that good stuff. And then I have a lot of different discussions as well. We talk about with other people. We talk about stuff going on in the Black community that maybe I personally feel like maybe we shouldn't normalize as much as we do, or changes I think we need to make in our community, changes in the way we see each other as Black people, Black men, Black women, and stuff like that. And then, yeah, we play music. I always have like a topic for each week's show. So this past week we talked about stop adding fuel to fire that you don't want to see grow. So I mean that in a figurative sense. Maybe some people will get what I'm saying, maybe some people won't. But yeah, that's a little bit about me and what I do. But we're here to talk some things. So yes, Yanika, what are we going to talk about today?
Yeah, so me and Melo, we've been having a few love and relationship discussions this year, and we've had some topics, to talk about, but because the show is only like an hour long, we can't always hit every topic. So there was a particular topic I've had on the list for a while, and for whatever reason, it kept getting skipping over. So I was like, okay, maybe we need to have that talk on my channel as a standalone topic because I think a lot of conversation can come from this particular topic. And so I had this question for Mello on why it seems a lot of men, and there's some women too, but it seems a lot of men are very comfortable with having a child with a woman, but they're not comfortable with getting married to that woman. So I had that question as to why that is.
Okay, so the question is, why is it such a big deal for men to commit in marriage? But it's not that big of a deal for them to commit to their child. And we talked about this on one of the episodes of the relationship discussion series that we had. And it's really a lot of the times us men, we feel like there's not much in marriage for us. You know what I'm saying? We feel like, like what honestly, what do men get out of marriage? Because right now, when it comes to women, self-respect is at an all-time low. You can get babies out of these girls if you want to. You can get sex out of them. You can get money out of them. Like, women's standards are low now. So it's basically like a floodgate. If you want a kid, go get a kid. You want sex, go get sex. You know what I'm saying? It's not like these women are saying, if you're going to get these things out of me, there needs to be certain steps you take. You have to respect me. You know what I'm saying? Now it's like men feel like they can get whatever they want out of women without having to commit to them. So that, I mean, I don't. I know it sounds sad to say. I know it sounds like dark, but that's a lot of what's going on in men's mind. Like there's women who willingly will have kids for men that don't show any commitment to them, don't even show that they appreciate them, don't even show that they respect them. And here we are. And then the thing is like, if women's standards are that low, men are just gonna rock with it. Like I always have this theory. I have this theory where like the relationship between men and women is almost like the relationship between supply and demand, where men are the suppliers and women are the demanders. Whatever women are demanding, men are gonna supply that. If women say, I'm only sleeping with men that wear pink, men are gonna wear pink. Like it's just that simple. And it goes back to women understanding their power. A lot of women, they don't understand their power. So that's why we just take advantage of them all the time. You just get kids out of them and you just keep it moving, because it's like, if you don't respect yourself, why am I gonna respect you? If you don't show me that I have to commit to you to get to get offspring, to get sex and whatever the case, then why would we? You know what I'm saying? Why would we take that extra step? So I guess that answers part of it. And then, why do we commit to a baby? We made that baby. You know what I'm saying? We have an emotional
No, I
attachment.
okay,
Mm,
let
mm.
me clarify the questions. It's not about them committing to the baby, just more so they're so comfortable having the baby with a woman that they would not marry. I'm not talking about the men who um are like committed to their child. It seems there's a lot of men like having kids with a woman that they would never commit to, and then they're complaining. They're complaining about the child support. Like these same women that you kind of called quote unquote not self-respecting, they're having kids with them, and then they're complaining. But it's like, why would you have kid with a woman that you wouldn't commit to in marriage? So I guess I should have clarified that part of the question.
Oh, it's fine. I get it. Your logic is like, why even impregnate her if you don't see a future with her? Basically, I
Yeah,
see where you're going with that. And
because it seems that's happening a lot. Like they don't see a future with a woman and they have a kid with her, and then they wonder why their life is in turmoil.
uh, well, it depends on where the man is at in his life. Some men, they're at very low stages in life where they feel desperate. So even if he doesn't feel a future with this woman, he's like, let me just get a kid out of her. You know what I'm saying? Let me just get a youth. Let me just get some offspring. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes men can be very transactional in their thought processing. Like I put something in, I get something out. You know what I'm saying? So that is why would a man have a baby by a kid that he doesn't want to commit to? Some men, their mentality is to build an army. Some men, some some men is like they feel like more of a man depending on how many kids they have. Some men, they're just on a mission to impregnate as many women as they possibly can. They just, if she'll let me, I'll do it. I mean, I've seen it so many times in my own life where, not my personal life, but like my family, my culture and stuff like that. You see it where these men are they're just hatching kids out. They're just hatching kids. They don't really see the woman like that. I don't even think a lot of the time the women see them like that. It's just, especially when you're dealing with like people that come from third world countries, people who are very impoverished. Like these women are hungry. You know, if they find a man that is willing to throw them a little bit of dollars to pay their rent or whatever it is, they're willing to have a kid for them. And you know, I always try to encourage women to not settle. You know, because if we feel like we can take advantage of you, we're just gonna do that. Like, I mean, just to be completely honest, like if
Typical man. Yeah.
you know, it's sad to say, you know, it's kind of a weak trait. Um, but it's just a reality in today's day and age. Like if we see that she's allowing me to impregnate her or at least commit the act, you know what I'm saying, then why not? You know, that's a lot of men mentality. And then the commitment thing, why won't they commit to the woman? Ah, we could take this a lot of different places. To be quite honest, there's a lot of full grown girls out here. You know what
Oh,
I'm saying? To be 100% honest, I'm not trying to bash women, but a lot of the times, men, we don't really see these women as like women. Just like women, they see like he's physically a man, but mentally, psychologically, he's not developed there yet. He's not mature, you know? And men see that with women too. We see like, you know, a lot of these women, they it's like they lack accountability. It's like they never admit when they're wrong. You know, it's never their fault. Whenever conflict arises in their life, especially between them and a man, it's always the men's fault in their mind. And then men feel like, well, why would I commit to that? You're not showing me that you're this evolved person that, you know, I should really devote a huge chunk of my life to, you know, and provide protection for and be there for emotional support, you know, because when you deal with women, is like you gotta really take time to deal with their emotions. You can't just neglect them when it comes to things like that. They're not gonna like that, you know. So yeah, so a lot of the times it's like we really don't see, because women, you just feel it. It's just in her energy. You just know this is a real woman that you're dealing with. And then the thing is, a man is always gonna get his act together for a woman that he really wants. You know, a man will always get it together for a woman that he really, really wants. And he just has to see those traits. He has to see that it has nothing to do with money, how much money she has. Yes, you would want her to be successful and stuff like that, but you want to see, is she serious? Like her energy, you can see she's not nobody to play with. I can't play with her. I gotta be honest with her. She's not into the game. She wants somebody that's straightforward. Because a lot of these young girls out here, they're into the games. They're into the guys that's gonna spit them lyrics. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna tell them what they want to hear, make them feel good, and this and that. And it's like, I mean, I can't speak for women, but I feel like real women is just, they just want honesty and transparency from
oh yeah, for
their man,
sure.
because it's like life is short. Life is so short to be out here like playing these games with people. You gonna block him on Facebook and then tell your mom to block him on Facebook so he don't add her and all this. It's just like, how old are we? How old are we? You know what I'm saying? Like, we gotta grow up. And that when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about men and women across the board. Like when I
Yeah.
hear about other people's relationship issues, you're just like, wow. You know, like I personally I couldn't deal with this. Like I couldn't do this. But you just, you listen to them as they vent about their relationship, and you know, but you know, to answer your question, to get back to the point, yeah, a lot of the times it's the accountability thing. Like I said, it's a lot of grown girls out here, and a lot of women, they don't want to hear that, especially from a man. Like they're gonna
Yeah.
be like, well, you know, who are you to tell me that I'm not a full grown woman or whatever the case. But a lot of the times we see that, you know, she very childish with her behavior. She love to keep up games. You know what I'm saying? It's like real women aren't like that, and a man is gonna recognize a real woman. Real men will recognize it. You recognize that she not nobody to play with. You know what I'm saying? Like, And if you lose her, you're not gonna find, you know what I'm saying? You're not gonna find somebody of that quality, somebody of that stature for a very, very long time. That's why I said men will get it together. They
Mhm.
will. That's why, when we have our discussions, a lot of the stuff that you say is true. Like, don't waste your time with these men. You know what I'm saying? If we feel like you somebody to play with, we
No,
gonna play with you. You know what I'm saying? We feel like, oh, all you want to hear is some lyrics. All you want to hear is me, talk some things, and make you feel good and whatnot. We gonna do that because it goes back to the supply and the demand. If that's all you demanding from us, hey,
no, yeah, you're definitely right about, men getting their act together or pretending to get their act together. Because some of them pretend, they'll like, you'll say, yo, go fix this. They'll pretend they go fix it and they try to come back. And then you're like, okay, I don't have time for foolishness. But um, I want to piggyback on when you said, um, the men, they're not committing to the woman because they see that they're childish, they're girls basically in grown women's bodies. But then that becomes my concern. Why are you having children with grown girls? It just seems like there's a lot of, not everyone obviously, but there are a lot of grown girls having children and with probably grown boys as well. And then it just causes such turmoil, like, especially within our community. It just really had me in my head thinking the question, like, why are these dudes having these kids with these women that they wouldn't want to marry? They probably wouldn't want their son to marry. Like, so it's like, why would you go have a kid with her? This is the person that's going to be raising your child. She's going to be raising your child. She can determine if she wants to put you on child support or not and make your life a living hell. Like, this person that you would never commit to. You're basically giving a piece of control of your life. And I mean, I don't mean to say it as in men are the only ones that do this, because I've seen women do this too, right? I've seen women go, multiple women go have kids with men who already have multiple kids. I'm like, and then the men are still hopping around woman to woman and can't even afford these kids. And I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, why would you go have a kid with him? Like, my rule, I don't even date men with kids, number one, because already you're showing me you're irresponsible. And if I am gonna have, date a man that already has a child, he would have maybe had to be married before, so maybe widowed or something like that. And then I say, okay, at least you were trying to do the right thing. But like, men just out here, and by the way, I'm not, for people watching, there's nothing wrong with dating someone that has a child. But I mean, I'm not trying to divert people from dating people with kids. Like, I know really cool dudes and women with kids. But my sentiment has always kind of been like, you should just, if you have a kid, stick to people with kids. If you don't have a kid, stick to people. I don't know. I just want to stop the dysfunction, and I feel like that's the best way to go about it. I just feel like there's just so much dysfunction that I see. And so I'm like, I'm always thinking, like, why are these dudes having, like, we see it time and time again. Men are like online complaining about, she's putting me through hell. She's putting me through child support. She's putting me through this. She's putting me through that. Why y'all keep having kids with them? Hello? Like, am I lost? Like, am I the only one like looking like, what the hell is going on? Like, why are you having a kid? And same thing on the woman's side. Like, I see women complaining about, he ain't this, he ain't that, but he was living at home, he ain't had a job, he had all these baby moms already, and you still went and had a kid with him. So whose fault is that? Like, like, but people are like complaining about the people they're having kids with, but they were a whole walking nuclear bomb. I don't even call those red flags, those are nuclear bombs. And they're having kids with them. And that's why I posed the question. I know I posed it as because I mostly see it with men, but like women, I've seen it with women too. Always, they're complaining about the baby dads. And, rightfully so, because you want a person who's gonna like be involved in taking care of their child. But it's like if he wasn't doing that with the other kids before you, why would you go have a kid with him? If he didn't have a job before, why would you have a kid with a man with no job? Why would you, and when I say why would you, I'm saying why would you have the kid with him and then expect him to be involved when he don't even have the means to take care of himself? How he gonna take care of a child? It's just like I'm just seeing all the craziness and I'm just like, at what point do we stop the madness? Like, at what point does it stop? Like, how many kids are we gonna damage? I mean, I'm one of the kids that came out of that, right? I mean, I was damaged for a very long time until I personally took control of my life and took the time to heal from it and did my self-work. But my kids to go through half the shit I've been through. So when I'm looking at these people who sometimes went through similar things like me and then they're still continuing the cycle, I'm just like, at what point does the madness stop? Like, am I the only one that's just looking around like, like what's going on?
Um, well, to answer that question, it's a lot of different factors that tie into that. The biggest one is just people are selfish. People, like I've heard people say it. They say, "I want a kid." That's selfish to say, because when you're thinking about creating a human, you have to think about what does that human need. You have something that you have to look after. So people don't think like that. People think, I want a kid. They're not thinking, I want a family, I want a union, I want, to instill values. I'm really trying to create productive members of society. People are just like, I want a kid, men and women. Some of them, like we talked about before, they had a kid just to keep the other person around. Like some people are at very low stages of their life. It's very sad, like they want to trap people and stuff like that. And then other times, people just don't know what they're doing. They're getting, like you said, I remember we talked about it one time, people getting pregnant on accident. Like,
Oh yeah. I mean, talk about that too, right? Like, okay, you get pregnant by accident. Why are you sleeping with people that you would not want to get pregnant by or impregnate? You shouldn't be sleeping with nobody that you would not want to have a kid by. Like, I'm not one of those people that's like no sex till marriage. I don't believe in that. But, more power to you people that do. Like, I think that's a good thing. But I'm a realistic and I think sex matters, but that's just me. But I would not sleep with no dude that I don't see myself having a kid with. Like, cause it's a risk. And I mean, we can talk about protection and stuff like that, but sometimes in the moment stuff can happen, right? Especially if you really like a person. But I'm just saying, like, in the first place, you shouldn't have been in bed with someone that you would not want to have a kid with.
no, that's true. That makes logical sense. That's someone who is thinking from a clear mind. But we live Western culture, we glorify promiscuity in this culture. You know what I'm saying? Like we glorify that lifestyle, We see it as sexual liberation. Go around and sleep around. You know what I'm saying? That's what we do. That's cool. And a lot of people is like they don't have the integrity, the backbone to not just go with the current, to go with what everybody else is doing, like so a lot of people, especially like people of our generation, they don't have strong values. Like you ask a person what do they really want, it's usually centered around money or something. Most people aren't saying, I want a family, I want to be married, I want to raise good children who are going to be productive members of society and stuff like that. When you ask people what they really want out of life, it's usually a selfish answer they get. I want X amount of money. I want to visit every single country that has been created on planet Earth. I want to, climb Mount Everest. I want to go skydiving. It's like none of the stuff that they value is really about community building or anything like that. No one is saying, I want to help my neighbor. I want to start a nonprofit. I want to figure out what's going on with the homeless. I want to, you know, help people in Africa. Like no one is thinking like that. It's all about personal gain. I want this so I can be free to do X, Y, and Z. And I don't know. I don't know where that stems from. I always say it's Western culture. It's the stuff that we value over here. Like it's very selfish. Everybody's very, very self-centered. So that's why I think marriage is kind of diminished. It's kind of minimized because it's like marriage, you can't be selfish in marriage because that doesn't make sense.
Well, that's the thing too, though, right? Because even women are looking at marriage as what's the point? Because these men are just gonna be out here cheating, having side chicks, still treating you like shit as the wife. Like that. I'm seeing that a lot. Like I see married men. Like when I've had married men come at me, I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like I'm not that girl. Like no, don't come at me. Go home to your wife.
Mm.
But it's like it makes you look like is there a point to it anymore? Like these dudes are not even committed to their wife. Like they're committed, like they had the big wedding and they signed some paperwork, but they're not actually committed. But yeah, back to the conversation, like it just seems like people are not even committed in marriage anymore. So it's like I understood your point of men, feeling like marriage is unnecessary, but sometimes women feel the same way too. Sometimes the women feel like, I'm in a couple moms group and stuff like that. And sometimes the women feel like they can get more out of a man if they just have a kid with him instead of marrying him because the husbands be at home not helping them with anything other than just paying bills. And so there's like this thing where women are like single mothers can get more out of him because he's not there stressing her out. It's not like another child with her. So even women are feeling the same way. So to look on the opposite end of, why women are okay with just having the babies instead of requiring marriage, some of them feel like they get more out of the man by not being married to him. And it's just at a point where it's just so sad because it just seems like I'm looking at things like at the end of the day, it's the kids that suffer from this. Like I don't think there's anything wrong with people having selfish needs, such as like people wanting to travel or having more money or whatever it is their selfish needs is, but don't include kids into that. Like that's my whole thing. Like why are we including kids into your selfishness? You don't have to have kids in your selfishness. Go be selfish. Go be by yourself. Go mess with as many people as you want, as long as you're honest with them. Go travel to every country. Go do whatever it is your heart's desire. But leave the kids alone. Cause I've just always had a take in with kids. And so when I just see people just recklessly having kids, you're having kids with people you would never commit to. It just had me like, what's going on? When does it end? Like,
Yeah. I don't think it will end until people heal, like a lot of people are hurt. A lot of people, they're just continuing generational curses in their family and they're not strong enough to break the cycle. It takes a lot of strength. I'm not gonna say it's easy, you
Yeah.
know, like it takes a lot of strength, and life is gonna put you in situations where if you give in mentally, you will just repeat the cycle. So I think a lot of people, they're just not psychologically strong enough
You're right.
to
Like,
persevere through that. You know, it takes like it's just it's hard. It's really, really hard. And you have to grow up. You have to grow up and say, you know, someone's actions negatively impacted me. But when I have the opportunity to put the shoe on the other foot, I'm not going to go down the same road. It's just maturity. Somebody hurt me, you know, they struck me with lightning, but I'm not going to strike somebody else with lightning. I'm just going to take that, I'm going to absorb it, and I'm going to grow from it. That most people are just not mature enough to do that. And it takes a lot of faith. You really got to find God, connect with God, and walk with God and trust. And that's a scary thing. You know, a lot of people beyond the religious context, just the I mean, spiritually, finding your personal relationship with God and walking with that, that's scary for people because you have to surrender, especially for men, because men, we like to be in control, you know, so giving in to a higher power is a very scary thing for us because it's just like we're stepping away and we're letting somebody else, not somebody else, but this other energy guide our path, you know, and it's a scary thing to do. So even though I don't agree with it and I'm gonna stick to my guns, most people they just give in, you know, especially as they get older. I can imagine women because you know they got the whole biological clock thing, and they probably just get to the point where they're just like, man, I want kids, you know, I just I want to experience the miracle of childbirth before I'm not physically able to do it anymore, you know. So I maybe a lot of women they just give in mentally and they feel like he's not coming, or the society that I live in is not creating men that value these things. And that's sad, you know. I mean, me personally, I care about marriage so much because I know what it was like to grow up without a father. I know what it's like to, you know, be raised by a single mother and how she reacted to it and stuff like that. And it affected me on a deep level. So I was always like, I always yearned for family life. I always, whenever I saw husband and wife and their kids, they're at the park, they're having a picnic, and I'm like, you know, I wonder what that's like. You know, I wonder what it's like to grow up with both parents and they actually love each other and they're not just doing it just
yeah.
because they have kids and you know and then even if they are, I commend people that do that, people that hang in there for the kids. You know, I commend them because it's a sacrifice you're making. You know, if you know, there's a certain extent to that. If it gets like abusive or anything like that, definitely don't continue the relationship. But if you know this person is not necessarily a soulmate, but you know you want to like stick it out with them for the sake of the kids. I respect that. I have a couple friends that that's what they're doing. They know, you know, they don't really love this woman. They know they're not really happy and no, they're not really compatible with their spouse, but they know they have a kid with this person, they're married to this person, they're gonna hang in there until the kid at least reaches adulthood or something like that. I'm not saying I personally would do that, but I understand, you know, where they're coming from, and I commend them for making that sacrifice. But not too many people, you know, see marriage the way maybe I or maybe yourself do. Like maybe not everybody longs for that. A lot of people they just see it as a they see it from a you know, they see it as a way to come up. You know, a lot of women they get married for status, you know, maybe men too. They get married just so they could be like, well, I'm with this person who's up here, so that means I'm kind of up here too, you know, or whatever the case. But it takes a lot of strength to say, I am not going to follow the masses. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not going to just be another fish that swims with
Yeah.
the current. I'm going to go against the grain and carve out a life for myself that I really, really want. It takes so much determination and it just takes a lot of faith. You just have to blindly believe that God is
Mhm.
going to come through for you. You know, and I feel for women because for men it's like we have way more time. Like, if I hit 40 and I still ain't got kids, I'm still in the game. You know what I'm saying? I can still, make it happen. For women, it's a little bit different, So I feel for them in that sense. But that's why I feel like women should need to wake up and understand their power. A lot of these women is like, they let us play with them. You know what I'm saying? And it's like women from the age of between 17 and 35 have all the power. And it's like they just don't know that. You women are literally you go
They're
around.
not taught that though. They're taught, their powers are stripped away from them at a young age to where, even just me growing up and seeing how women would just feel like they have to conform to men. Women, you have to be this way and that way and whatever, and boys will be boys. And I mean, it's just so crazy. Like, our powers are like basically taken from us at a young age. And getting that power back takes a lot of strength. Or unless you were raised with like parents who like made sure you kept your power. I feel like, you know, yeah, our powers are stripped away from us very young before we hit adulthood. So by the time we hit adulthood, a lot of women feel like they have to be at the beck and call of a man. There's a lot of women that feel that way. They feel like they have to conform. They feel that way because that's just what, if you go against the grain as a woman, if you go against societal way, you're viewed as problematic. You're viewed as this, you're viewed as that. And even to piggyback on your thing on, you reach a certain age. I mean, now with like medical and scientific advancement, I mean, there's women even at 50 having kids. So it's not as bad as it used to be. But I also want to say on the men's side, men think they have all the time in the world. But when men hit a certain age, it becomes problematic down there. It becomes problematic. I'm in groups where a lot of women are complaining about men in their 30s and 40s with ED. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and your sperm count is different too. So it's like, but we're not really taught that. They just tell men, oh, you have all the time in the world, so they act a fool for as long as possible. But I come across a lot of men in their 40s and 50s having a hard time because they keep trying to go after young girls that are just playing with them. And it's it's all very sad. It's just like I see so much and I'm like, this is just so sad.
It
You know,
is.
like everything's just very sad. It's a sad world. And some days, like, like when people are asking me when am I having kids, I'm in my later 20s now, and I'm just like, well, one, I want to make sure I'm in a good position that regardless of whatever happens with a man, my kids are going to be good. Like, that's number one to me. Number two, I have to find the right suitor, right? And that's a challenge within itself. Like, people think when you're an attractive woman, you have all these options, but like, those options become a problematic because you're an attractive woman. They become problematic because they think you're like dealing with other people even when you're not. Like, you're like, I'm just dealing with you, and they
Yeah.
be jealous and possessive and like, people don't think we deal with that, but we do. So it's like it becomes harder to even like make a choice. And then when you come from a background like mine, it took me a lot of more time to like get to where I am because I had to like heal from all that craziness I went through. And then I had to like become stable before I can say, let's have kids. But then also, society pushes women to have kids young. Imagine if the 20-year-old me, when I was like still confused, still healing from childhood trauma, still this, still that, trying to have a kid. I would have like my kids would have been messed. Well, at least my 20-year-old self kids would have been messed up a little bit because my 20-year-old self was like trying to figure stuff out versus like my late 20-year-old self now, where it's like, okay, I know who I am, I've healed, I've this, I've that, I've done the work. Now if I have a kid, now I know they'll be okay. But like society pushes so much on us. It's like a lot of women don't know up from down until like they do have the kids and they realize like, yo, we was fed a lie. We was fed a bunch of BS. It's just so much craziness I've seen. Sometimes I'm looking around at the world and I'm just like, am I the only person seeing this? Like, am I the crazy one?
Oh, no. You're actually one of the people that's in their right mind. And every time you say society, it's men. Of course, men don't want women to recognize their power. It's like what I told you in episode one, if women were smart, all men would be their slave. And that's what I meant. Like, if women really understood your power, like a lot of women, they feel like exercising their power comes from what they can take from a man. So if they can make a man pay her rent, pay her car note, pay her light bill, or whatever, they feel like, yes, power of the peak. But really, a woman's power is what she can give to him. And it's like women have it backwards. They feel like if I can take something from him, then I'm powerful. But if you can give something to him, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can literally, women are the ones that decide whose genes get carried on to the next generation. It's literally you guys. You guys are literally the gatekeepers of humanity. You go around saying, that man right there, yes, he gets a child. That one, no, because he doesn't behave himself. He doesn't get a child. This one, he gets a child. You know what I'm saying? So, but women is like you said, they're not raised to understand their power. Like, I don't know. I mean, it's men controlling the narrative, making women feel like they gotta be dependent on a man in order to be like a woman, and that's not the case at all. You know what I'm saying? And really, everything that women have been taught is backwards. You know what I'm saying?
It
It's
is. It
backwards.
is.
And of course, we want y'all to, y'all think y'all need a man. You know what I'm saying, for survival or whatever it is. Of course, we want
And
y'all to
they, I
not.
mean, you think about it, they had stripped women of their power by not allowing them to work, not allowing them to have bank accounts, not allowing them to have anything unless they were attached to a man. But the funny thing is, I think a lot of what we see today is from women fighting back.
Mhm.
I mean, a lot of what we see today is from women fighting back. I feel like men take it as women just, it's just modern times, but no, this is just women fighting back. Because imagine like being a woman in the olden days, you have to be married to a man to survive. How do you survive when you can't work certain jobs? You can't have a bank account. You can't do anything. So it's like men always talk about, oh, grandma and grandpa days. I don't think those days was ever good either. When I look back on everything and I talk to a lot of older people, those days were never good. I think we were fed a lie. Those days were not good for women, at least. I think some men, I mean, they had it their way. So, of course, it was good for them. But the woman, we had to just like shut up and like take whatever he does. Like the men having the outside kids, but she has to stay because she's there for survival. But now we don't need that. Like, now, and I know you spoke about women like as they're getting older, feeling like they have to have a kid, so they're just having the kid. And that's what some choose. Like some choose to up their finances and they can just go out there and have a one night stand and have a kid if they want to. So it's just like it's just really a lot of women fighting back. Part of too why we see so much turmoil, but I feel like men are not understanding that women are just fighting back at this point. I don't feel like women are just, well, there's some, but like I don't feel the majority of women are just intentionally being like destructive or anything. I feel like they're just like fighting back. I feel like they're just trying to get their power back, right? We spoke about how, I said they take our power at a young age because, like the younger me thought very differently than the current me. The younger me, uh, there were some thought processes I had where I had to like, even this year, I was reflecting on them. I'm like, why do we call the men the leaders of the relationship? Like I was questioning myself. I'm like, why do we do that when we're the ones given the skills to lead a lot of times? We're given the skills to lead, yet we're saying the man is the leader because he has a penis. So I'm like,
Yeah.
it's so crazy. Like, women are given household management skills. Some of us are taught to, how to, go hustle, make your money too. Some of us, we're taught household skills, cooking, cleaning, everything. We have the social skills. Like, we have the skills to be the leader, yet we say the men should lead us, even when the men don't even have no leadership skills.
Yeah, men with no leadership skills shouldn't be, women shouldn't be sleeping with them, having kids for them. And that goes back to women respecting themselves more, you know what I'm saying? Like be a little bit more selective. Even men too, like be selective of the people that you deal with. But for men, we're under pressure because it's seen as cool to have like a lot of women, like a lot of hoes and stuff like that. Like in men culture or male culture, that's always seen as like it's glorified to a certain extent. Like if you got a lot of women, it's like, you're the
I
man,
don't
you know
think
what I'm
no
saying?
real woman glorifies that because I look at them disgusting. You got all these baby moms, you can't touch me.
But see, not all women are like that. A lot of women, it's like they like to low key compete with other women. So if they feel like they see other women are involved, they're like, well, let me see if, I can, I could put it on him and run his brain. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the little girl stuff that women get into sometimes, or they want to sleep with him because they jealous of that girl and they want to ruin what she got going on. And women can be terrible to each other sometimes.
That's true. No,
And
that's true.
that I mean, I don't know. But in male culture, like, if you got like five different women, you know what I'm saying, that you could sleep with whatever you whenever you want to, your friends are gonna be like, yo, you know what I'm saying? You the man, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I mean, I think real men, like I myself, I admire men that have a wife, they have a kid, they have a family because that's what I personally long for. But maybe not all men personally long for that. I have men in my family where they just they want to be the done. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Jamaicans, oh my God, there's something else. Ugh,
and Jamaican culture is different.
hot
Like Jamaican
mess. It's a
culture,
hot
you got a lot
mess.
of women. You're a gallus. You know what I'm saying? You're the done man. You know what I'm saying? You just, you that guy. And all the men are gonna look up to you. All the men look up to the man that got 8 baby mamas and 20 kids, and that's the thing where it's like we have to start normalizing the right things. And I think it's really the women that have the power to change that, because it's the women that are giving these men these kids, giving them access to their bodies and stuff like that. If women say, yo, You want me, you gotta come correct. Like, say, then these men gotta change their behavior if they want to have women out here to parade around with. They want to have women out here to sleep with or have kids for them. You know what I'm saying? And it's tough because it's like us men, we control a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like the way the money is distributed. You know what I'm saying? The men usually have more money, and we want
You
the
guys
more
have
money
all
because
the management positions, the high level positions.
but
You
we
guys,
want that power because we know we're gonna get the women with that. Like a lot of men, they don't rely on just the intangibles of what comes with being a man to attract women. A lot of them they focus on their resources. They make sure they have power. They make sure they have money. They make sure they have material things that they could give to women in order to win their hearts over. You know, and I mean, yes, that's good. You know, it's always good to have money. It's always good to have power and influence and stuff like that. But I feel like you shouldn't need that to attract women. It should be something intangible about you, just your energy. You know what I'm saying? That attract her. But you know, today's day and age is getting so materialistic where people bend over for money so quick. And I mean that figuratively. Obviously, some people do it literally, but like figurative, people bend over for the highest bidder, like men and women. You know what I'm saying? They want to
that's
be
true.
friends with the richest person in their office, or women want to, rub elbows with the CEO and all that stuff.
Mhm.
It's like, I don't know. I don't know. I
It's
think
true, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, all I was gonna say, I think the average person, their entire existence revolves around money, and I think they make a lot of their decisions off of money, who to befriend, who to not befriend,
That's
who to
true.
go after a relationship with, who to not go after a relationship with, who to seek advice from, who to not. It all stems to how much money they have because we a lot of the times we feel like money is the only determining factor of success. And
That's true. Some people.
it's so much deeper. Like people who have healed from traumas, they're successful. You know what I'm saying? Like you're rich, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? If you have good friends in your life that genuinely care for you, you're rich. You know, like they say, that's the Jamaican saying, good friend is better than pocket money. And that's very true. It's very true. If you have like just real friends and it's not, they just genuinely love you. There's no malice in their heart, there's no jealousy, there's none of that. They just genuinely love you as a person. You're rich in my eyes, but not everybody sees it that way.
No,
you know
you're so right. You're so right. And with you saying that there are people who feel like money is the be all end all. I've had men come at me trying to throw money at me, and I'm just like, okay, but what about your character? And they have none. And then they wonder why I don't want them. And then like they have to like go rethink themselves like, oh, this woman isn't gonna budge at my money because I don't need, I make my own money. I don't need your money. So okay, what else? Like, and then also I've, met older men, some of these older men you talk about that do have the money and the stuff, but it's like they feel like women are only dating them for money. So now the stuff that they chased after, the money, and they made it their whole life, it becomes their problem too, because now they think everyone's just after them for money. They think that no one genuinely likes them or stuff like that. So it's like the same thing becomes the problem, and it's just sad that we live in a world where everything is just and I'm not saying financial success is not important. It is, because you need finances to like live.
to
But
survive.
like
Mm.
when people just make that their whole existence, but then they're empty in all the other aspects of life, are they actually successful? To me, no, because you're not genuinely happy. You're happy you have the money, but what else do you have to show? Like what else?
Exactly.
You
And I
know?
always tell women that, like, I feel like when you're looking after a guy, stop always looking for the money. You know what I'm saying? Look for the character, because a man with good character will eventually be rich. A woman too. Like, their character will see them through. Their work ethic, their determination, their attitude, their perspective on life. It will see you through eventually. And men, we want to have that money because it just attract women. It just does. You know what I'm saying? Like, honestly, it really just does. And like, I always try to encourage women to, like, just try to figure out who this man is. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you have to tell him to get up and go to work? Does this man do you feel like he's found his calling in life? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is he living for? What is his purpose? What does he genuinely love to do? These are questions you need to ask people when you trying to vet them. You think you're considering them for a partnership. It's like, you gotta ask, like, what makes you tick? Like, what brings you joy in your heart? And I don't know, like, women, I get it. You want money just in case you get pregnant by this guy. He has the resources to help you take care of the kid. It's necessary. I mean, yeah, you risk your life to push out a baby for a man. Of course, you want the man to be able to, help you, pay for some Pampers, or, say, buy a house to put you in or something like that. That makes sense. But, some is like, especially us younger men, like, a lot of the times, especially even black men, is like, our families didn't really set us up in a way where we have generational wealth to as a resource to help us as a foundation that we can invest into what we really really want to do. A lot of us, we just got to get it out the mud because our people selfish. They only thought about themselves. They're not thinking about the future generation. So every generation has to start from scratch. Like, everybody just got to start off from the bottom and get it out the mud. And I get frustrated with my own family because it's like, they made some selfish decisions that I feel like, if you guys would have thought about the family, the succeeding generations would be much better off. We wouldn't have to be out here trying to get it out the mud.
So sorry, the time ran out. I was trying to tell you, but I didn't want to disrupt you because we said we had less than 1 minute left, and I
Yeah,
didn't
and I
cut
know.
off on you in the
It's
middle
all
of
right.
it.
I'll
So
start the whole ending again. So, yeah, I just want to thank Unika so much for letting me get on this show. It was really therapeutic for me. I got a lot of things off my chest, and I feel really really good right now. And then, yeah, everybody, make sure you follow me. I'm on Instagram at DJMeloJones. Make sure you visit my website, www.da no sorry www.djmelojones.com. Check out my radio station's website as well, www.dagr the number 8 fm.com. Make sure you tune into my show. It's every Thursday from 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can stream it live from the website, or you can download our official WKMTDB app. It's available on the Apple Store and the Google Play Store. Um, and then, yeah, I just uploaded a video of an interview I just did, so make sure y'all go check that out. And but yeah, I don't want to make this too long. Thank you, Yanika, for your time. Thank you for inviting me to do this discussion. I think we got the original topic answered. I think we did hit it, and we also hit a couple other things. So I can't wait to see how this video comes out after you edit it, and what you keep, what you let go, and all that stuff. But yeah, so thank you again. Everybody, subscribe to Yanika channel if you haven't done it already. I think it's just Yanika. So make sure you guys subscribe. Makes great videos. And yeah, until next time, Melo Jones signing out. Thank you guys for your time. You guys have a good night. All right.
all right. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.